There's a chance that this was created in a lab. There's an investigation.
A chance?
Well, but
oh my
if there
God.
is evidence, I'd love to hear it.
There's
I just don't know.
a novel respiratory coronavirus overtaking Wuhan, China. What do we do? Oh, you know who we could ask? The Wuhan novel respiratory coronavirus lab.
That could very well be, and Anthony Fauci and Francis Collins at NIH have said, like, it should definitely be investigated.
Many months later.
The Department of Energy released a new report saying a lab leak is the most likely origin of the COVID-19 pandemic. No. Bad energy department. No biolabs until you finish building your electric car charging stations. Stay in your lane.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and Stephen Colbert might be maybe the most insufferable man on TV. He has completely sold his soul, if he ever had one, in order to back kind of the mainstream messaging. Oh, I'm back on my office. Hold on. Hey, it's been a while since I've been back in front of my office, but yesterday we kind of had a pretty big bombshell report where the United States Department of Energy had come out and said, hey, you know that thing that, liberal media has been saying that you literally can't say, and that you can't possibly believe, and if you do believe it, you're the worst person on the planet. And if you, if you do speak it online, you should be banned. It's really bizarre. Let me, when you spend enough time on the internet like I do, and like many of you do, I wonder if you're noticing the same thing. And by the way, there's something going on with my YouTube channel. I don't know what it is, but it's certainly not recommending my videos as often to my subscribers. But if you haven't yet subscribed, please do subscribe down below and turn notifications on. Hopefully that will right itself soon. But have you noticed kind of the shift from talking about Ukraine to now talking about China again? We had TikTok banned. Then now suddenly the left is like, oh, yeah, it's definitely curious that this leak theory, it looks like maybe there's some truth to it. 6 months ago, they called you all conspiracy theorists if you thought that, or racist, or all sorts of other terrible things, because that's what the left does. You should be banned. You should be. Now suddenly you had Cenk Uygur come out and say, oh yeah, maybe that's just a thing. Then you see Colbert having a total meltdown. This is from Tom Elliott. Well, I should probably follow him as a credit. Stephen Colbert attacks the Department of Energy for its investigation, finding that COOF likely came from a lab leak. Quote, stay in your lane. You see, Colbert knocks the EPA for shipping Ohio. Oh, that's the wrong article. Here it is. Stay in your lane. Of course, this is what they say. It's like, wait a minute. I've been gaslighting my viewers for the past 3 years, telling them that, oh, it's just a weird coinky-dink. By the way, a lot of this stuff was funded by Americans too. If you want a black pill, there you have it. But stay in your lane. His whole monologue is about whining and complaining about this. And then of course, Stephen Colbert ripped for willful rejection of reality after taunting the Energy Department and their report on where the COOF perhaps came from. It's funny how all these nighttime hosts who are supposedly free thinkers and all this kind of stuff, they all got right in lockstep. We're going to get into that in a minute. Late Show host Stephen Colbert was ripped on Twitter after he ridiculed a bombshell report from the Energy Department assessing where the COOF came from, of course, originating in a laboratory. Colbert was accused of mischaracterizing and downplaying the Wall Street Journal report on the classified documents during his Monday Night Show monologue. Well, there it is, blah, blah, blah. We just said that. If you're like me, I just showed you that. Stay in your lane. Colbert, Outkick sports reporter Ian Miller said the monologue illustrates Colbert's endless, willful rejection of reality. It's impossible for people like Colbert to accept information that means Fauci and their other political allies lied to the public. There is an endless, willful rejection of reality to protect their ideology of undeserved sense of self-importance. Several Twitter users poked fun at Colbert's suggestion of the Energy Department, quote, stay in their lane. When Colbert tells the Energy Department to stay in their lane, what he actually means is, you're on our team. Don't you ever say anything to make us look bad again. Fox News contributor and New York Post columnist Carl Mankiewicz tweeted, you see, of course, Dr. Colbert wants the Department of Energy to stay in his lane. This, of course, after promoting the poke endlessly, demanding Americans get it. And look, again, I have no opinion on that. You do what you feel is best for your body. But I think that it's pretty hypocritical from a guy that has been endlessly promoting this thing to suddenly be, saying, well, this information's good, but this information's actually not good. Media critic and Fox News contributor Joe Concha suggested that Colbert's comments reminded him of when the comedian was more political when President Trump was in office. Vintage Colbert, not at all in a good way. Washington Examiner reporter Jerry Dunleavy noted how the liberal comedian omitted how other intelligence agencies, including FBI, if I remember right from that report, also had a low confidence in their belief that it occurred naturally. Notice how Colbert emphasizes that the Energy Department has a low confidence in the leak, brings up the NIC and 4 other agencies learning natural origin, but doesn't mention that it only has low confidence. Doesn't mention at all that the moderate confidence is the FBI leak, he tweeted. Funny Colbert didn't tell Jon Stewart to stay in his lane when he said the very same thing about the Energy Department a year ago on his show, Washington Free Beacon. Editor Brent Shear wrote, this is exactly it. This is, you go here, Jon Stewart recounts angry backlash. Jon Stewart is as liberal as they get, right? Like a super lib, right? And his own side absolutely torched him for even suggesting that this was a thing. Called him all sorts of things, conspiracy theorists and all this kind of stuff, for just having an opinion, for perhaps considering that maybe this happened. Former Daily Show host Jon Stewart recalled being stunned by liberal anger toward him Monday when he espoused the theory that it began with a perhaps leak. Upon news of the Department of Energy's assessment that is indeed likely to be the case, Stewart discussed his memorable June 2021 appearance on The Late Show with his friend Colbert, where he said it was a clear explanation for the pandemic. During his conversation with staffers from the Apple show The Problem, Stewart recalled receiving heavy criticism from the left, his assertion that it could have leaked from the lab. First of all, I wasn't waiting on the Department of Energy to weigh in on this, Stewart said. The larger problem is all of this inability to discuss things that are within the realm of possibility without falling into absolutes and litmus testing each other for our own political allegiances that arose from that. My bigger problem was that I thought it was a pretty good bit that I expressed kind of how I felt, and the only two things that came out of it was that I was racist against Asian people, and how dare I align myself with the alt-right. These are your people, right? The backlash was swift and immediate and quite loud. And again, I didn't take that personally. Why would you? We live in a world where I have my opinions. I'm not mad at the backlash either because they're doing what I'm doing, expressing themselves. Stewart then laid out his objections to his critics, who argued that he took an all or nothing perspective. That part I don't like about absolutes is it's dismissive, like, F you, I'm done with you. I'll never forgive you, you've crossed an unforgivable line, blah, 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 blah. Stewart joked that he might as well have put Hillary for prison on his head because after his remarks on the show, people labeled him a Republican. The former late night show host often discusses politics. There's no doubt that, Jon Stewart is a lefty. That's obvious. Colbert is a whole nother level. And then you could see Comedy Central's Hassan Minhaj then goes after the Department of Energy also for investigating the lab theory, saying, I'm holding out until the DMV chimes in. Again, they do oversee biolabs. They're just pretending that they have absolutely no credibility. They're like, oh, well, it's the Department of Energy. There's no way this could possibly, you shouldn't listen to this, except, the FBI also agrees with them and other agencies agree with them. So you have Hassan Minhaj doing it. And then you see, if you're wondering, Jimmy Kimmel made no reference to the Department of Energy's leak report. despite having previously called this a conspiracy theory. So you had Jimmy Kimmel going out of his way to ignore it. You had Colbert having an absolute meltdown about it. Hassan Minhaj getting right in line and passing on the government propaganda. And, at the end of the day, it's like, why does this have to be about political sides? Like, it sure would be nice if this was just like, hey, we're all Americans here. We've all been, damaged by this all around the world. I feel like it's a completely reasonable thing to want to know where this thing came from and, what can be done about it. And if there need to be any, retribution for it. But mainstream media doesn't want that. They want to call you all sorts of things. And it's been interesting to watch the cope since yesterday's report. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like on it. And if you haven't yet, subscribe down below. There's definitely something weird going on with my channel, and I could use your help. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll talk to you again real soon.